Hi everyone. I want to talk to you about challenges on trying to be positive when I have a disability. Um, I'm a type of person where I really like to have positivity too because I deal with a lot of negative things in life or challenges that is hard to find permanent solutions. Um, I simply struggle with autism, including learning disability, along with cognitive disability, and this affects me a lot. And I have dealt many times where many of my friends, people who I know, and people in general, where they would bully me and tease me for having a disability, or if I struggle to meet their standards, or if I'm different from other people. And what is really hard is when people do like teasing, like bullying, name calling, or putting me down, or telling me that, making phrases like they don't like a retard, or they tell me that I am strange from other people just because I have different interests or hobbies. Um, really affects me pretty hard, and I start feeling really down about myself, where I kind of question about um, like I live with this kind of um, negative feeling where I feel guilt and shame, where I kind of ask myself, am I a bad person for having a disability? Um, am I a terrible person because I struggle with social cues, or if I can't fit in well with other people, or if I can't maintain friendships? Um, and also, like, am I in living with the guilt, feeling like, am I really am a bad person just because I have all these challenges? Also, another thing too that I struggle with negativity is when I deal where some girls, including some women, bully me about struggling with a disability. They do name calling. They make sometimes inappropriate um, sexual harassment comments about me because I struggle with social cues, or I struggle with my disability. And sometimes they um, bully me so hard that it makes me feel uncomfortable. And when it comes to dealing with this, I feel inside of myself more feeling guilt and shame, like, am I a terrible person to a girl or woman just because I struggle with a disability, or if I struggle with social cues, or am I a failure to women and girls just because I'm not a sexy guy, or maybe I'm not good looking, or maybe I can't do everything like they want me to, and so and that also, I think another thing too that I deal with a lot of um, negativity is when I fail to perform at certain tasks. Like sometimes, I work in a food industry for 11 years and currently, and sometimes I deal where I I deal with some coworkers sometimes bully me or pull me down just because I struggle doing tasks efficiently or multitasking in a fast paced environment. And sometimes when they do all this name calling like calling me a retard, calling me a slowpoke, or kind of saying it's your fault that we are falling behind, and do all this bullying and teasing, and also dealing where sometimes if I struggle on doing tasks, and if I try my hardest to ask for help politely, sometimes they don't want to listen, and I doubt really hard. And sometimes inside of me, I kind of feel the same guilt again as like my previous statements. It's like, am I a terrible person just because I can't do tasks efficiently in a fast paced environment? Am I a bad person just because I struggle with multitasking? And I try to figure out, what does this question mean of what does it mean to be a good worker? Also, I've done volunteering in the past, including currently, where I have helped people assist other people with different needs, like helping feed the homeless people, including people who are low income, and it's a big challenge for me because sometimes homeless people, including people who are low income, get easily frustrated if we can't give them everything that they want, or if we run out of food fast enough, or sometimes other volunteers get mad at me just because I struggle doing a task efficiently in a fast paced setting, or if I struggle and figure out how to navigate different situations. And I kind of deal with this guilt feeling when it happens. Like, am I really a bad person just because people who are poor are struggling and I can't help them with everything? Am I a bad person if other volunteers or peers of the volunteers put me down for simply struggling with a disability, or if I can't do tasks efficiently? And so um, I've also dealt having really feeling negative about myself is when I see a lot of times we have like public officials, including um, news media and entertainment, like TV shows, including movies, where they try to stereotype people with disabilities or as bad people or as criminals. Or another thing too that makes me very feeling negative is when I see sometimes social media influencers, YouTubers, or sometimes politicians use anti disability stigma as a way to try to promote hate against people with disabilities. And when other people see this type of behavior, I deal harshly on getting bullied by people in general, including women, including girls. Including minorities, including different generation groups like Gen Z, millennials, older, and other generations about having a disability. And sometimes I deal with physical harassment, like getting spit at, getting pushed, getting hit. And inside of me, it really hits me hard because there are times where I struggle to be upbeat a lot and feeling positive because a lot of people get mad at me. They say, "Oh, why you're a Debbie Downer? You're a bad person just because you struggle with a disability, or if you struggle a lot." And there are times where when some of my friends or people I know want me to listen to them, where they when they even if they struggle or if they just want to talk or if they make achievements, they want me to listen to them more. And at the same time, if I'm struggling or if I want to try to communicate myself as just saying, "Hey, I'm having a hard time," or "I'm struggling," or if I'm trying to share my interests or hobbies, I definitely get rejected a lot. And so that also, what is hard for me on dealing with a lot of negativity is when there are a lot of social media platforms, including on YouTube, where sometimes on these social media platforms I deal where other people who I'm connected with or some of my friends where they bully me with hateful messages about me having a disability, or if I struggle on trying to be creative, or if I'm unique in different ways, or I'm different from other people. And sometimes when it comes to YouTube, when I try to make YouTube videos, sometimes I don't get enough viewers like other people do, or sometimes I might get mean comments, and sometimes it really hits me hard, and um, I feel really sad sometimes because I really want to share my creativity, but also trying to portray myself as a human being who wants to do good things. And that can be really hard. And and so, what I have tried to do on trying to go on being creative about being positive and trying to think of positive thinking is I always do is I brainstorm to myself where I kind of do self reflection of myself, where I try to tell myself, like, um, hey, I'm just a human being with a disability, and it's not my fault that I have a disability, and that it's okay if I'm struggle with social cues, but inside of me, I'm still trying to have a good path of being a human being with good principles, even if I struggle um, with my disability. Also, what I try to do is when I do struggle with like working or if I struggle with volunteering, I'm a type of person that likes to work on critical thinking with creativity or try to be use creativity on critical thinking skills to help me improve myself on learning tasks or figure out how to do tasks efficiently. Like, for example, when I volunteer, and let's say, for example, there's a long line of homeless people waiting for food to give, and if they really want seconds, what I try to do is pay attention to how long the line is, look at how much food I have, and if I think that I can give out seconds, I try to say wait to 10 to 15 minutes, and then I can give you a second back. Or another thing is like if I'm in a workplace, definitely in the food service industry, it's always like fast paced. So it's really challenging for me to navigate it. So what I always try to do is I try to pay attention to details as possible, like making sure that when the dishes or silverware comes out from the dishwasher, I want to make sure that they're clean so they could be safe for the customers or safe for other people around. I try to be creative at doing tasks when when there's a time where it's slow in the um, food industry. Like for example, like I can easily stock silverware, I can stock plates and bowls, I can clean the dish room, do a little mopping. So I always try to use when there's a chance where it's slow, just to take advantage of doing certain tasks. And so um, that. Um, Unfortunately, with social media, it's not very easy because social media is becoming more toxic. And there are times where I easily feel down a lot because people get mean at me because I struggle with a disability or I'm creative or unique or if I struggle on trying to be upbeat. And so, what I have to tell myself is that social media platforms everybody struggles and everybody wants to be popular. Everybody has their own way of doing social media. But the best thing that I can do for myself is simply just one is remind myself that I'm just a human being who wants to do good things. Try to be creative on how to express um, your struggles, but also try to express what you've learned about it. Like, for example, I would say, like, um, I had a difficult year because I was teased, I was bullied by other people, and I struggled with friendships. But here's the things that I've learned about myself. Like, for example, I did some traveling where I got to see things, got to meet people who really inspired me to write to. Um, I've done a lot of self reflection, I've done volunteering. So I always try to balance myself as a human being with some goodness, even if I struggle with negativity. And I also do is be very creative on how much time I spend on social media. Like create a time limit. Like let's say don't look at social media before you go to bed or before you take a nap or before you go have dinner or like let's say with social media I try to do is create a time schedule, say when to use it when not to use it. Like if I'm at work or if I'm volunteering, don't use social media and unless if it's an emergency then I would respond. But it's a way for me to not get overwhelmed with social media and seeing all the hateful messages I get from other people. And so um, also, what is really difficult still with me dealing with a lot of negativity is basically what I said earlier when people in the news media, politicians or public officials, including the entertainment industry, where they like to promote or um, social media influencers or YouTubers where they try to promote anti disability stigma, it still really makes me feel down about myself, and it makes me feel scared about being in society because I deal where people get mean at me and people bully me. But what I try to do to try to find positivity is I try to look for TV shows or movies that have actors and actresses that are very active on social justice or disability rights, or if they have good character development where they have characters where they want to try to navigate life and their challenges, trying to help people, trying to figure out how to improve themselves. um, I try to focus on that, and also I try to focus on watching a lot of kid shows or cartoons or TV shows or some movies that have life lesson messages, where it is like teaching people about the need for compassion, kindness, being creative with critical thinking, wanting to help others, and to try to teach people about learning from their mistakes to be a better person. So I spend time watching a lot of TV shows that do this stuff as a way to try to distract myself from a lot of this anti disability stigma that's being presented in society through the media, including the entertainment. And unfortunately, it's not very easy to avoid a lot because TV, there's or the news or YouTube or other entertainment platforms do this type of anti-disability stigma, and can be a challenge. Um, when I try to do find positivity in people, it's not an easy thing because I deal where I continue to get the same thing like being bullied, being put down, sometimes physical harassment, or sometimes people making inappropriate sexual harassment remarks at me because I struggle with disability or struggle with social cues. And it's very difficult too because I've lost a lot of friends. I don't. Most of the people tell me they don't really appreciate me for trying my best to be a good friend, even if I struggle with my disability, or if I struggle with social cues, or if I can't meet people's standards. So when it comes to trying to find positivity in that, I try to first of all tell myself that I am just a human being who is trying to do good things, and even if I struggle with a disability, or if I struggle with social cues, or if I'm not the same as everybody, but also try to tell myself that, remind myself that everybody struggles, that I'm not the only one, and try to remind myself like, don't give up on the good principles that I was taught through teaching time or including through my life about continuing good principles like trying to be kind, compassion, understanding, respectful, trying to be creative with critical thinking when it comes to people. I do the best as I can to try to see good in people, even though it's a challenge. I try to be compassionate and kind to people who struggle in life, or people who I know struggle, or if they make good achievements. I try my hardest to think of good thoughts, including positive vibes, if I struggle to communicate my thoughts efficiently, or if people don't want to um, value me. And so, um, and that. When it comes to some friends or people I know where they don't want to listen to me when I struggle, or if I want to um, talk about my interests or hobbies, I try to be creative on that. Where I kind of do is talk to my computer, where it writes down my thoughts and have it read back to me. That's a way for me to try to journal my thoughts, trying to figure out what are my struggles, how I'm feeling, how I'm trying to understand myself when I deal with these things. But also, I try to do is focus on doing more hobbies. Like, for example, I like to write letters to influential people that inspire me, um, play video games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Life is Strange Two Colors, or Assassin's Creed. And I try to watch TV shows and movies and cartoons that I like. I try to spend time with my historical figures that I collect to give me motivation and try to give comfort to myself. and um, and also I like to learn about different topics like social justice and history as a way to motivate me to continue to try to be a better person and a better human being in a society where it's difficult if it's filled with bigotry or hate, and trying to learn about how social justice and history can help me shape myself to try to be a better person and an ally to people who I care about, or people in general, or people who are struggling. Because I'm a type of person where I want the world to be a better place. Unfortunately, with women and girls, I deal with this struggle of feeling negative because I deal with being bullied, being rejected, being put down, dealing with sometimes different forms of sexual harassment remarks and spitting, and I've dealt with this for a really long time, and haven't had many good experiences where some women and some girls could treat me with respect. And with my positive thinking, the best thing that I can do is try to always think of good thoughts and positive vibes to girls or women who I know or who I care about or who inspire me. And also, the best thing that I can simply just try to do is think of what type of vision do I want to be for, or how do I present myself to a woman or a girl? How do I think of my intentions? So I try to brainstorm as much as possible where I say, okay, um, my view for women, including girls, is that I want them to feel okay about themselves when they struggle in life or if they make achievements. I'm not here to judge them in a negative way. I want them to feel okay, want to know that I'm always thinking of good thoughts and positive vibes, and that I want to be a good listener. Um, and if I can't do well in like social gatherings, groups, or if I can't do well in public places, I hope they can understand that I like if I want to ask to have like go to a coffee shop to talk, if you want to talk on the phone or email, then I hope that they could be understanding of my intentions. I just want to try to have a conversation and try to be a good listener to them, and that even if I struggle with my disability, if I struggle with social cues, if I struggle with communicating my thoughts efficiently, or if I struggle to understand people, that I hope that they don't think that I'm a bad person, and that's all I can simply just do, and that. Um, with people in general, I kind of been struggling with making friends and doing well with maintaining friends. But all I can simply just do is simply try to do small talk as a way to try to um, be respectful to people. Like I might say, "Hi, how are you?" or "How was your weekend?" Or like, let's say if somebody went traveling, you might say, "How was your vacation?" or "How's your summer?" Just short, simple conversations, because I feel like I can do well basically with short conversations because it helps me try to understand people better, but also try to help me out to feel a little more confident in talking to other people. But sometimes I can't really do well with socializing with people or even having friends. So the best thing that I can always do is try to do small talk, try to follow the good principles of what it means to be a good person or a good friend, like caring, compassion, critical thinking with creativity, and trying to be understanding. And so, and what I also have been trying to do more on trying to focus on positivity is I always try to exercise much as I can. I'm a type of person that can't do well with exercising because I struggle with my disability and cognitive ability, where it's hard for me to learn how to do exercise efficiently, or it's hard for me to do well at sports. It's hard for me to do well in social groups of doing sports. So what I try to do is go for a walk. I try to do 20 to 30-minute walk outside if the weather is nice. I try to do it early in the morning because I always get deal with being anxious or feeling scared when people bully me, and I try to go to the gym as much as I can, even though it's a challenge because in a gym I deal where people get fitness aggressive at me. They kind of tease me or they kind of do other spitting or make fun of me if I struggle on exercising properly or if they feel like I'm too slow at doing exercising. But I try to go to the gym where I can be creative at doing my own workout. Like I take a jump rope with me, do a few jump ropes. I walk around the track. I sometimes do the weights, but I usually do the weight um, dumbbells as a way to improve my muscles. And I try my hardest to give enough space from other people when they're fitness aggressive. I try not to get mad. I try not to feel sad. But sometimes going to the gym is hard, but all I can simply just do is be creative at doing exercising, even if I can't exercise at the gym all the time or if I don't feel safe walking outside. I try to do stretches at home, and I tried to watch YouTube videos about improving on coordination or improving um, on other exercises as a way to try to teach me on how to do th- do things. And so also I've been trying to do more is when it comes to trying to find positivity is I try to do a lot of journaling where I talk to my computer where it records my thoughts or my struggles and trying to process about myself as a human being, trying to navigate these things because I want to try to present myself or try to help me understand a life balance between dealing with the challenges, dealing with negativity, but the things that I'm trying to do better, the things I'm trying to learn, my goals, my insights, and and so I try doing this all the time. I try doing every week, even though it can be tough because there's so many thoughts coming around. Sometimes I feel disorganized. Sometimes I'm not sure how to communicate efficiently, or how if I feel like I can't communicate with people or friends or people in general because they would put me down if I'm simply just trying to be a human being expressing concerns, expressing my thoughts or my struggles or my interests. So I tried talking to my computer, and then I tried working on writing my own speeches, making videos of it as a way to try to present to people or the world that I am a human being who wants to do good things or who's struggling but really wants to do good, even if I have challenges with my disability, if people or friends or other people in general bully me or put me down for simply struggling, or if women and girls um, bully me when I'm simply I'm just trying my best to be a good person, even if I struggle. And so I try to be creative on trying to figure out how to understand myself as a human being in a world where it is broken or is polarized, if people are addicted to bigotry or hate, or if there's a lot of anti disability stigma. So unfortunately, I don't have many good advice for a lot of people who struggle with negativity because everybody deals with negativity in all different ways. Um, and sometimes not every solution works, but I think the best thing that I can think of to give advice for people when they deal with negativity is first, remind yourself that you're just a human being in a world where it is difficult to navigate. Second is try your best to be kind to other people, be compassionate, be understanding, use creativity with critical thinking to expand on your learning or your task, or try to figure out what your interests are. And don't give up on your hobbies or interests that you like to do, even if people make fun of you or put you down. And also try to be creative on doing self care, or even try your best to find ways to limit how much time you spend on social media platforms or um, in that. And so I also another thing to mention is when I deal with a lot of negativity from people or some of my friends or people in general, women and girls or other generation groups when they bully me, I kind of like to do is it's a let go process where I try to give them extra distance, but at the same time too is to tell myself that it is okay if I have to let go from people that don't treat me right or they're mean or they're toxic. But all I can do is remind myself that I have to do the best as I can to try to be a human being with good principles. Try to find ways to distract myself from difficult things, but also try to be creative with critical thinking, and those will help me in the long run, even though it isn't popular among other people in general. So, unfortunately, I didn't have a good script or a speech talking about understanding myself when I deal with negativity or the challenges of finding positivity when I struggle with my disability, but that's the best that I can do.